So, first thing, if you get an equation, it doesn't matter what it looks like, right? If you're given an equation, chances are you should probably be entering that into your y1, right? Make sure that the plots are off. If you're entering an equation manually, the plots have to be turned off. It should not be highlighted, and you will know what I'm talking about later on. Okay, and they are off. I checked for that. I hit graph. My window is off because I used a different one. I was doing my homework, right? See, dedicated. Um, there's that. I went zoom 6. I tend to go zoom 6. Let's see if that works out for me. And it almost does. I just have to change my Y min a little bit. And I see everything I need to see. I see the intercepts. I see the vertex. We're good to go. We're in business. So now I'm going to find the vertex. Second trace, I'm going to use the minimum. And I have to go to the left of the vertex. Remember, you almost want to put your pencil there. That's where the vertex is. You have to go to the left of it, left boundary. As soon as you're past it, you hit enter, then go to the right, hit enter, and guess. You always hit enter, and that's the coordinate right there. So I'm just going to record that. That's negative 3.12, negative 1181. Okay, so that is decimals, no problem. We know how to deal with that. And I will make sure I add the keystroke. So I just went second trace and I used min, okay, to get that. If you want to put 3, right, it's either 3 or 4, min, max, right? So it's up to you. And there we go. We have that taken care of. And when it says min or max, it's actually asking for the equation of the min or max. In this case, it's a min because it's the lowest point, and that's just stated like that. Yeah. I would let it go for today, but in the future, make sure it's y, okay? Axis of symmetry is actually, we call the axis of symmetry the equation, which is x is equal to the, remember it's a vertical line going through the vertex. The min or max is a horizontal line going through the vertex. Those two give you the coordinates. If I give you this and this separately, you should be able to come up with the vertex. You should be able to, oh yeah, axis of symmetry is the x value of the vertex, and the min or max is the y value of the vertex, right? So you should be able to go backwards like that. Anyways, x-intercepts, not always will you have one, not always will you have two, right? So you got to be careful with that. I'm going to make y2 equal to 0, second trace 5. I happen to be over there on the right side, so I'm just going to hit enter, 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 and that gives me 0.720 is one of them. Then I'm going to repeat that step, and I'm going to scroll all the way over to the left side, and as soon as you're closer to that one, you can just go ahead enter 3 times, and that's negative 6.97, sorry. Get your act together, right? Minus 6.970. And so I say that I went y2 equal to 0, second trace 5. Okay, or intersect. If you want to write intersect, go for it. Y-intercept, I will look and I see that this is in general form. How do I know that? There are no brackets. So I can actually just do this. You don't have to have any keystrokes if you don't want to. The domain, it's all real numbers. How do I know that? Because it's not a word problem, okay? So it just will keep on opening up indefinitely. So all the x values are accepted. And I'm just going to make a little note here. It's pointing up like this. I can tell by the a value. I can tell by my graph, everything. So this right here is the vertex, right? So the y values have to be greater than or equal to the y value of the vertex, right? So that's what it has to be. Or you can go negative 11.81 to positive infinity. Round bracket. So you have to use square bracket for the number, round bracket for the infinity symbol. And notice that the interval notation does not have the variable in it, so that's the benefit of that. You don't have to wonder, is it x, y? Later on, the variables change. So you know the marks associated, so just add it up, right? So and if you didn't provide keystrokes, I would take off half a mark for keystrokes missing. If you made a rounding mistake, just take off 1/2 mark one time only. Don't take it off for any other rounding errors. Yeah, I would make a note, but don't take off marks there. Okay? Only 1/2 a mark max. Then I'm going to do the hardest part, right? The graphing. You're probably saying it's not hard anymore, right? I did my homework. So I'm going to transfer over what I know. And so I can have a scale of 1 and it would work for the x at least. I'm looking at my x values and the y value, the lowest, I need to make sure I have down to 12 or something like that. So this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, right? 2, 4, and that keeps going. And I'm going to continue that 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So you're telling me that every mark is equally spaced out and everything is worth 2, right? Along the y-axis. And here I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Keep going like that. And I'm going to do the same thing to the left. 3, 5, yeah. So I have a different scale on the x-axis than on the y, and that's fine as long as it's consistent. You can't switch it up, right? And then I plot it. So 0.72 is right about there. And negative, I should have gone further a little bit, sorry. Negative 6.97, this is negative 6.97 is very close to 7, of course. So that's there. And my y-intercept is 0, negative 4, so 2, 4, this would be right there. My vertex is at negative 3, 1, 2, 3, and then some, right? It's just over a little bit. And negative 12 would be right about there. So we are just kind of saying that it's going to happen right there. And then you have to just be careful to make it look symmetric if possible, right? It's very important in grade 12. Don't make them, if you at all, everything can be perfect, but you make it look like it's curving back in, you're going to lose marks, okay? So it's very important that you make that known to your audience that it's actually going, it might be very slowly, but it is opening up indefinitely. Make sure you have the equation there, which is 0.8x squared plus 5x minus 4. Okay. And that would be your graph. And here's what I'm going to look for. So labels, by that I would just mean in this case x and y, so that'd be 0.5, right? For scale, I would give a full mark. So I'm looking at the x scale and the y scale. Is it appropriate? Were you consistent? I'm going to actually look at the graph itself. I'm going to give you 1 mark for the graph, like the shape of it. Does it look like a V, or does it actually, is it rounded at the vertex, right? It has to be smooth, okay? So there's your 2.5. Right now you're the teacher, you would say, yeah, I think I got it all. It looks exactly like that. 2.5 out of 2.5, right? If you forgot arrowheads, I would take off half a mark right away. If you don't have those. If you forgot the equation, I would take off half a mark. Right? So you don't get to have full marks if those things are missing. What are we at on this page? 7.5. If you did the math, this page is out of 7.5. Strange, right? Then we go to the back side. And let's see how you did there with the second one. Give an example of a quadratic function that is narrow. That means that a should be greater than 1. Points down. That means that a should be negative. And has a y-intercept of -5. So I'm just going to tack on the -5. We are assuming you're going to do this in general form, right? That's what I'm assuming that's what you do. So I'm going to go negative 1.5, if you will, x squared, and I will just go -5. That would be one possibility. That would give you 1.5, because you got to have a negative, you got to have this being bigger than 1, and you got to have a -5 at the end, a -5, right? So half a mark for each component. Another option you could have is if you want to go real fancy, right? You write f of x instead, minus 2032 x squared plus 517.85x minus 5. It's still, the check boxes are there, negative, bigger than 1, and you have the -5 at the end. This has nothing, this doesn't affect it one bit. The x term in there, it does affect the graph, but it doesn't affect these requirements. Okay. If you want to go one different one would be -5/2 x squared plus 17.05x minus 5, right? A is still bigger than 1 because it's 2.5. You get it. I think you get, right? Enough examples? I think so. Okay. If you want to go real crazy, you just grab big numbers for everything, except for this has to be -5, right? Or you can go 25/5. That'd be like really out there, right? Anyways, explain when the graph of a quadratic function would have two x-intercepts. Be specific. So you can say if the vertex is below the x-axis and the value of a is positive, right? That could be one way of expressing that, and then you would actually give me a little sketch. You would say it's below and a is positive, so right, this is the resulting graph, and then you hone in on those x-intercepts there. Or you could say if vertex is above, and you fill in the blank, right, and a is negative, okay, or points down, then in that case the vertex is above and a is negative, that would be pointing down, and so you have two x-intercepts there. Something along those lines that tells me, so you get 1 mark for that. If you I would say there should be the word vertex should be in there, the variable a or which way it's pointing should be in there, to get the mark there. Okay, then the bonus, I don't know if you did that one, but here it is. So you just FOIL it, right? 2x and 3x is 6x squared. 2x times 5 is 10x. Then it's -3 times 3x is -9x. -3 times 5 is -15. Then you need to clean it up. 10x and 9x gives you just x minus 15. So if you have that exactly that way, you get 1 bonus mark for that part. Okay, so you have a potential of scoring 11 out of 10 on this one. So put a mark down, name, last name, and then flip it upside down, pass it forward,